A big thank you to Screen Skills, who've supported this session. This event, along with our Get In, Get On skills, are supported by Screen Skills Animation and Children's TV Skills Funds, with contributions from UK Animation and Children's TV Productions. And then to say something about the Children's Media Conference, who are behind all of this Get In, Get On webinar. Children's Media Conference, or CMC as it's more widely known, is a big industry get-together that happens every year in Sheffield, and this year is its 20th birthday. So huge congratulations to everybody involved with CMC. This year it takes place on the 4th to the 6th of July, and if you're serious about getting into kids' media business, it's a great place to be. So think about registering for a ticket. We're posting in the chat the link on how to do that, or there's an online version of the conference which has live streams of the keynotes and the video of every session. And that's also a fantastic way to get to know kids' media in every aspect. So do make a note of those, and we'll share those afterwards. I know that some of you are already planning to book into the online conference this year, which is a great follow-up to this particular webinar. So just a little bit of housekeeping. If you do want to speak, please do pop your comments straight into the chat box, and we'll endeavour to get to you so that we can hear what you've got to say. And this is how it's going to work. We're going to hear from the first group of experts who are here this afternoon, who will tell you a little background and their top advice on how they got into the kids' media industry. We have experts this afternoon from animation, live action, social and digital, music and radio, commissioners, broadcasters, writers, you name it. We have the finest and the brightest minds from across the industry right here for you. So we're really pleased to say that. Then we're going to split into evenly distributed groups in breakout rooms, 9 breakout rooms in total, for question and answer sessions, where you can chat and ask questions directly to the experts in your particular room. It'll be a random selection. That's just down to the unique way that Zoom works. So if you're in there, do make sure that you're not shy to ask any of those burning questions. All of the experts will be there to chat along and listen to what you've got to say. So a real opportunity there to speak to some fabulous industry insiders. And don't worry if you do just want to listen, that's okay too. We'll just ask that you're respectful to each other in terms of making sure that everybody gets a chance across that room within that time to say something if they want to speak. So thank you for that. Now, we did set some homework, and that homework was to watch the brilliant short videos, and I hope many of you have watched them, that are being published on the CMC website and on the YouTube channel to accompany this session. However, don't worry if you don't know what I'm talking about, because we will again be sending them around afterwards, and they are absolutely brilliant. I have to say, you know, I've worked in this industry for over 25 years, and it's brilliant to see how candid and how superbly these were delivered, with very clear sense of particularly the animation one, which we were just talking amongst ourselves about before this. Tells you how the industry works. So do have a look at those. After the first breakout session, we'll all come back together here, and then we'll hear from a second group of experts, and then we'll split again into a second breakout room. So you'll get two rolls of the dice there. And at the end of that, we'll send a fact sheet with all the tips from the experts, links to the industry's websites, and have details on training and bursaries, which I know will be important to hear as well, and links to the Get In, Get On videos I just mentioned a second ago. So let's get started and introduce the first group of experts. They've been told they've got a minute and a half. We TV people can talk for longer than that, so this will be interesting in itself. And they will pitch to you about themselves, what they do, and they'll also give their top tips on how to get into the industry. So I'm going to start by turning to Alison Warner, a legend in the industry, very well connected, and an animation superhero from Blue Zoo. Alison, are you there?
I'm here. Oh my gosh, I don't know if I can quite live up to that. But yes, hello everybody. I'm Alison Warner, and I am head of original content for Blue Zoo. So I've been in the industry more years than I care to think about, really, but at least quarter of a century, I'd say. So I started off actually in home entertainment, and then moved from there into really drilling into kids, and have worked across co-productions, international sales, and find myself very, very happily ensconced at Blue Zoo. And for those of you that don't know who Blue Zoo is, we are one of the largest independent animation studios in the UK. And we make things like Paddington Bear and Number Blocks for the BBC. We're a range of 2D and CG and animation. And half of what we do is doing work for other people. And half of what we do is actually looking to develop ideas, whether it's from a book or out of our heads or something else. We develop stuff that's in-house, and we're also very, very collaborative. So that's a very, very quick overview about me and Blue Zoo. But anyway, I'd like to give you my 3 top tips. So if you have a great idea, please do your research. When you've got your idea, make sure you know what it's going to be. I mean, I know that sometimes you think it's just amazing. It could be all things, but I think it's really good to be quite clear from the get-go as to whether it's going to be a book, or is it a television series? Is it something that might work digitally? Is it a game, or is it an app? And it's really good to think that through. So do your research and think about what it is that you're really excited about. My second top tip is, if you need to develop your idea, you might need to understand what you need to give up. And this is very much a commercial point, you know, in terms of rights. What do you need to give up to develop your project further? And where do you yourself add value? You need to think about that. Is it on a creative side, or is it in terms of commercial value? So you need to think about that. And my final top tip is, if you're in a rush with your great project, then I think you're in the wrong industry. Everything takes time. You know, you've got to be able to really get to know the people. When projects go into development, they can take ages. We've just developed a project which has taken over 3 years. So if you think that your idea is going to be on the screen within, you know, 6 months or a year, then you're definitely in the wrong industry. Anyway, that's enough for me for now.
Alison, fabulous. Thank you very much for your top tips. And I'll go straight over to Georgina Hercombe, who I think is somewhere on the call here. Another Uber Swish animation studio boss and big supporter of animation students from Bournemouth Uni. Is that right?
Yes, that's right. Hello, everyone. I hope everyone's good. So I'm the owner of Love Love Films. We are currently producing 52 times 11 minute series for Milkshake. We're being distributed by Aardman Animations. It's my own IP, as Alison just mentioned. It did take years to develop, and I would say, yeah, I've definitely been, you know, learnt to get in and get on with it. So here's the show. There you go. It's a 3D adventure show with a craft. My top tips would be network. Definitely go to CMC if you can, because it's a wonderful place to go. You don't know who you're going to meet. You'll meet lots and lots of people in TV and in kids TV. And I've always found it to be really, really friendly and really inclusive, and just, you know, a great place to start having your initial conversations. My second tip is to find a mentor. I still have mentors today, and I think everyone in kids TV, generally speaking, is really, really lovely and full of useful information. So I often reach out to my peers and ask advice. And yeah, so look out for a mentor, reach out to people. You can even look out on credits of shows that you admire, and maybe see who's working in what departments that you're interested in. So that's another good tip. My third tip is to read lots of industry magazines, books, and yeah, so I've got some to show you. So absolutely love this book. Ooh, clearly you can see this is whilst I was developing my show. Yes, I use this a lot. So this is a great book. So yeah, it's kind of my Bible. Animation magazine, another great magazine to read. It has a lot of insight into kind of what's being commissioned, what's hot, where the commissioners are, if they're moving companies and things. A couple of other ones. So there you go, lots of great magazines to subscribe to, and a lot of them are online as well. There you go, that's a shameless plot. thing that thing. But yes,
But,
so
Georgina,
definitely that's it. That's definitely look into doing that and looking at lots of work. Yeah.
fabulous. I think the subscription's just gone up for those magazines. And I absolutely agree with reading the end credits. So we're going to move straight on to Ashley Joseph, who is an amazing writer and actor from Jojo and Gran Gran.
Hey, good
There you
afternoon,
are,
everyone. I am, and I'll tell you a little bit about myself. So yeah, I am an actor, writer, presenter, and for a long time, I always wanted to just go down one route every time I was on a job. And that's one of the first top tips I'm going to say, is that you should play all the strings in your bow. If you have multifaceted skill sets, if you're someone who right now is thinking, I want to change career, think about all the transferable skills you have that is going to work in children's television, whether you're producing, writing, want to get into animation. All the things you have experience can come with you, so don't forget that. My second top tip is don't get hung up on format. A lot of writers I meet, or people that are wanting to create shows for the first time, they don't get anything on the page. Like, it's all in here, it's all in my head, and I just don't know how to get anything out because I don't know how I'm supposed to write and what I'm supposed to do. Just write, just get it out on the page. For every show there's format and structure that varies from project to project, and those things you can be guided on, but unique ideas are the thing that will get you into rooms and onto teams, and they're things that you can't always just be given, but format and structure you can. And for everything else, there's final draft. My final tip is what they want will not always be what you want, and that is more than okay. So I think this comes into what Alison was saying as well, that sometimes when you have a hot out of the box idea and there's interest to develop it, know how much you're willing to change your idea, know how much you want to give over into those hands to take it further. And for me, I know that things I'm developing at the moment, I have to know how much I want to let my baby go and how much I want to keep it at home as well. So always hold on to that as well. And yeah, I just want to say finally, again, I'm the only writer on Jojo and Gran Gran who's also an actor who voices Jared. And that's what I want to say to you, that you can do 2 different things in this industry, or 3 or 4. Please don't be afraid to do that. Please don't stay in the box. Get outside the box as you get in and get on. Merry Christmas.
Brilliant, Ashley, thank you. Multifaceted Ashley Joseph. Now, I don't know if Ian is still here, but Ian fell off the call. Ian France.
I'm here.
Bravo, there you go. So let's speak to Ian France, who he must have written this himself. Exec and broadcaster extraordinaire. This man is the Don of broadcasting content.
I did not write that, but I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful to who did write that. Hi everyone, I'm Ian. I work to commission original programming for Sky Kids, and I oversee the production of the Sky News show for young people, FYI, The Brilliant World of Tom Gates, MC Grammar, and we've just finished doing our new live action drama, My Friend Misty. So I kind of have a little bit of experience on live action, animation, scripted and unscripted. So my tips really are, I just want to say, first of all, big thanks to the graduates at Sky for helping me with this. When you get my tips, you'll find that there's 6 on there, but I think out of those 6 tips, these are my top 3. So I think you should research the production companies of the shows that you like, and also research who's made the shows. I think that's been said a bit earlier on, but if you're brave, you could reach out to them on LinkedIn or somewhere else and chat about how they got in, follow the production companies and build up a network of potential places to work. So watch the shows, look at the end credits, and perhaps you can find a mentor, as Georgina was saying. That would be really useful. Be persistent in job applications. Someone who was a graduate at Sky was job hunting for 6 months, and this job that they've got now was their 5th interview and around their 70th job application. So asking for feedback post interviews, and then when you get rejections, really understand how you can be different for your next interview as well, and learn from your prior interviews. And then finally, other broadcasters like BBC, Channel 4, ITV, they generally have careers pages which allow you to add yourself to a mailing list for when jobs become available. And that's been really useful for me in my career, that's for sure. I go online, I find everybody all their job pages, and that's what I did before I got the job at Sky. So hopefully that's a little bit of help at this stage.
Brilliant, thank you, Ian. Grania McGuinness is next, who is the creator of the fabulous Pablo, or certainly from Paper Owl. Grania, are you there?
Yes, hello, I'm Grania and I'm the creative director at Paper Owl. We're based in Northern Ireland, but our content goes all over the world. And our mission is to create content that helps children see the world in different ways. And that was very much born out of the joy of our lives, which was creating Pablo for the BBC. And we also have Happy on CITV at the moment and Lady Bird and Bee on RTE. And so I'm taking this very much from the point of view of getting in and getting on. And without saying, please come to Northern Ireland and work for us, because we've got lots of work and we need good talent. My first top tip is, if you don't have experience of your own, learn from someone else's. This industry is full of the nicest people who are only too happy to share and maybe save you from some of the pain that they learn themselves. And of course, every project that you make is different. So you're always learning yourself anyway. So you will meet lots of lovely people who are happy to share their experiences with you. And so try and do that and pick your moment, because they might be very busy. And so pick the moment when they're receptive to being asked as well. And conferences like CMC is the perfect opportunity to do that, because you won't meet anybody if you don't go to these things. It's a job where you learn on the job. So, take your feedback in the spirit of what's best for the production. It's not about you. It's about what's best to get the best quality on air for the audience. I would say that's a big one, to learn how to take feedback and operate in a team. And my third one would be manage your stress. There's a wide lot of deadlines. There's a lot to do. You're always juggling development and production, and the best idea ever. So I would say try and manage your stress in whatever way you can, and work with people who share good feelings. Because when you do that, just the creative process is just so much better. Yeah, so that's
Sonia, that's absolutely brilliant advice, and thank you very much for it. There's four more pieces of guest advice coming up before we go into the breakout room. So I move to Jamal Campbell, who's next, and he's a champion in social, creative, digital, cultural diversity, and I do believe he's recently a new dad. Congratulations, Jamal.
Thank you. I'm Jamal Campbell. I'm the creative and digital producer on Milkshake, which is the children's block on Channel 5. So I'm just going to jump into my 3 top tips for socials. First one is, if you don't already follow Adam Mazzori, he is the head of Instagram. I would advise you follow him. He usually gives you updates beforehand about anything that's changed on Instagram, whether it's the algorithms, what new things they're bringing to Instagram. So I found out about Reels before it came out because he put it out there. So he's a good person to follow. See what other people are doing in the industry. There might be some stuff that you might see that you can take on, or you might adapt. I try and at least do 20 minutes on the train to see what else is out there, just so that I know if there's something that I can do that I can adapt, that I can use on the Milkshake socials. And whether it's from Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, I always try and do that. And the last tip is AI. There's been a lot of talk about AI over the past couple of months, and I've been trying to study as much of it as I can. I'm a bit of a geek, so on the weekends, it was me just looking at all the different types of AIs that are out there and how that can benefit the softwares that I already use today. So it's looking at that, and also seeing how AI can help with your socials. For example, there's been a lot of talk about ChatGPT, maybe using that to help summarize some of your captions that you're doing. And then looking at AI in the softwares again, like Premiere have already adapted a lot of AI things in their softwares, so as After Effects, DaVinci Resolve. So those are my top 3 tips. Thank you.
Brilliant, thank you, Jamal. To Mark now, Mark Stripple, who has hands down probably got the coolest job and incredible music connections. Mark, is that right?
Yeah, kind of the coolest job, hopefully, and good music connections. But hi everybody, great to be with you today. Looking forward to the breakout room. I'm currently a creative consultant, out of the BBC for 2 years. I was in the Beeb for 20 years overall, and my pathway was via community radio, a station called West Side Radio in West London. Via history and law, I didn't know I wanted to get into media. And if you're not studying media at the moment or in that space, there is time. You can find your way back into your passion. So I made my way back in via One Extra. I was signed as a DJ when the station launched in 2002. I think Georgina spoke about having a great mentor and sponsor. Mine was an amazing guy called Bob Shannon, a really senior BBC leader who left recently. I went into management, found my way in with his support. I was head of One Extra. Ultimately, I was head of BBC Asian Network, spent time with BBC Sounds, and then moved around different platforms. So into BBC Sounds with podcasting and some TV commissioning, things like the Rap Game UK on BBC Three. Since leaving 2 years ago, jumped around a range of different platforms. So in the streaming space with Spotify, working with a gaming company called Dubbit, thinking about content and music in the metaverse around Roblox, BBC Sounds with a podcast show, and Sony Music, content strategy around a range of different artists, and also manage an up-and-coming music artist as well. So my top tips, this is coming from the viewpoint of someone looking to get into music and audio. It's the most exciting time to be in the audio space and to think about how audio connects with visual and connects with TV and adaptations. But take notes is number one. And it's very simple. Really listen, really learn from a diverse range of talents who inspire you. Inspiration is everywhere. Consider the craft of a format you're listening to. Consider the storytelling. Considering how that core idea might translate to different mediums. The second one is around do the research. I think, as was mentioned just now by Ashley, you don't have to get locked into a format, but consider the audience that you're looking to reach, understand who they are and what matters to them. Insight is key. We spent a lot of research time and money at the BBC, all of us do as broadcasters, trying to understand what young audiences want. Understanding those key touch points, those reference points for a young audience is really valuable. So relevance, authenticity. And finally, consider your mediums. It is worth thinking about the types of lanes you might want to go into. Don't lock yourself in, but think about where you might want to test content. If I was hiring people at the moment, whether it's production teams or whether it's talent, I'm always looking for them to have tried and trialed something out there, whether it's YouTube, whether it's a podcast, whether it's a radio show on a local community radio station. The opportunities are everywhere, and multi-hyphenate talents are everywhere at the moment. So think about where you might want to test your craft.
Brilliant. Thank you, Mark. And how cool is that Radio One Extra microphone flag behind your left ear? I'd like that. So let's move on to Rachel Evans, who's a journalist, live action producer, and I think you're an examiner at university as well, aren't you, Rachel?
I am. I'm an examiner at Swansea University on their Media and Communications course. I really love that job. So hi, everybody. Great to be here this afternoon. I'm in Cardiff in Wales, and I work for Boom, which is a large independent television company based in beautiful Cardiff Bay. And we produce around 200 hours of children's programming mainly for the S4C public broadcasting channel in the Welsh language, but also a couple of shows for Channel 5, The World According to Grandpa, and also Meet the Experts. So we've got a 50-strong team at Boom who are experts in preschool programming, quizzes, studio shows, drama, factual, and we have a live Saturday morning show which runs throughout the year in blocks, which is fantastic and brings in a real audience, all in the Welsh language. So I've got 3 tips that I'd like to share with you. They all start with C. For Cymru, which means Wales. No, they don't really. So my first C is consume, and I would encourage everybody to consume content on all platforms. If you're interested in television, you need to be looking at loads of different things on all types of different platforms. On TikTok, listen to podcasts, read the papers, read books, listen to the radio, listen to music. That helps you shape and form your thoughts and ideas and your passions, and it makes you think about you. And also it's a great place to steal ideas. And then with those ideas, the second C is to start shaping and forming your ideas, but test them out on people, test them out on your friends, your family, the dog, whoever's going to listen to you, and listen to feedback, because I've had some brutal feedback over the years, and it's like arrows to your heart, but it's when you step away and think about it, it's often just the brilliant thing you need to unlock it, think about it differently, and turn it into something better. And then my last tip is to collaborate. The best work I've been privileged enough to work on has always been through team working and effort, and listening to other people's views and opinions. But also when you're working in a team, I'd also encourage people to think about the impact of your behavior on others, treating everybody with respect, listening, being inclusive, thinking widely about how your behavior and what you're saying and how you're saying it can impact on others. They're my tips.
Rachel, brilliant advice, and thank you very much. And to John Mason now. John's a guru of digital media, creator of the Secret Story Draw competition. John's our final speaker before we go into our breakout rooms. John.
Hello, everyone. Greetings from sunny Brighton. Well, it is today. So my name's John, and I'm the managing director of a digital production company called Jollywise, and we make lots of lovely content for digital platforms. So where we play is at that intersection between children, families, entertainment, education, and large brands. So we make apps, we make games, we make interactive experiences. That kind of thing. And when I'm not doing that, I also run an inclusive and diversity campaign called the Secret Story Draw, which has over the last 2 years sought to bring a lot more diverse talent into the industry with some success. I'm very proud of that. So my 3 tips are: I've been in digital for 20 years. Probably I was right there at the start when we were all inventing this stuff, and it hasn't changed pace. Digital moves incredibly fast. So my advice would be to read as much as you can about what's happening in this world, in this space. Subscribe to as many newsletters as you possibly can, and read everything that you can. Become a bit of a polymath if digital is what you want to get into, because I guarantee when you start reading this kind of stuff, you're able to start to connect the dots. And those dots are what are the solutions that clients quite often aren't thinking about or haven't heard about. So that's my first one. The second one is play games. I mean, play lots and lots of games. And I don't mean PlayStation or Switch or Steam. I'm talking about board games, card games, outdoor games, all of those games. And when you're playing those, try and have a little think about what sort of play pattern is going on there. What are you actually being asked to do? And then try and take some of those ideas and thoughts into the games in the interactive experiences that you might want to create. And finally, the kids media industry, kids are a very, very, very broad spectrum. Right down from preschool all the way up to sort of young adults. So who is your audience when you're thinking about creating a digital experience? How does a game play, or how does a website work? How do you kind of onboard a player into the experience that you built that's age appropriate? What might be appropriate for a 9 to 11-year-old might be great, but maybe for a 3 to 5-year-old, that they're not reading a lot. So you need to think about those sorts of things. So those are my sort of 3 top tips.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, John. So we've had some brilliant advice so far, and we'll get to hear from the remaining experts later. So let's go into our first breakout rooms now, where you can ask questions and chat about how you can get in and get on, actually get to the crux of it. It'll take about 5 minutes for us to now get into those rooms and be separated. Darren will do a bit of technical wizardry. And while we do that, I'll give you a few parish notes about things that are also related to CMC. You'll be prompted to return to the main room after 15 minutes. It'll be 15 minutes in this particular main room. So whilst we get into those rooms, here is some information on CMC that we'll send to you after this session. So if you are new to CMC and have an IP in development, come and meet the international community at the International Exchange, which is a virtual market day, all done online on June the 29th. There is an extra cost for this to register. So it's not for complete newbies, but it is the cheapest way to meet with commissioners, distributors, and production companies in the UK. Watch the videos. We talked about the videos that have been made for this session a number of times. They are really good. There are hundreds in addition on YouTube, all arranged in categories and all free. Included sessions are on creative business, research, commissioners, strategic thinking, digital innovation, media in education. So there's something for everybody on there. Attend the Skill Builder Story Workshops, which is £50 to register. It's a workshop on building ideas on IP and brands, and on the first day of CMC, which is the 4th of July, that's not for everyone, but those seriously embarking on wanting to write for kids. So that's quite specifically for those who want to go down that pathway. At the conference, the first timers welcome drinks is another note to share with you, which is on the 4th of July. And no other conference does this. It's a free reception for everyone who identifies as a first timer at CMC. And you get to meet people who are, you know, much like our experts and panel here, old timers who know the industry tremendously well. So do take up that opportunity. The opening keynote with David Olasega, this year, broadcast historian and filmmaker in person, talking about kids, media, inclusivity. That's also on the 4th of July, so make a beeline for that. And other sessions that are always interesting, meet the commissioners for preschool content and 6 to 12s. There's a live pitch competition, which is also called Put Your Money Where Your Mouth Is, where new projects are live pitched to senior industry judges and the audience get to vote for a winner. So there we go. So I'm hoping in a moment we should be moving through. He's almost done. I'm getting a note. Thank you, Lou Bucknell. All the comms are working very well. So put a dampener on it. But yeah, we're about to move into those rooms. So best of luck. You might be with experts you haven't heard from. And if you are, they'll probably do a brief introduction and then we'll hear their top tips on the other side of this first breakout room. So best of luck and enjoy yourselves in those rooms. See you shortly. Those conversations in those rooms will be happening again when we get to the next breakout room, but with new experts. So some of it might cross over if it plays out well. But it's time to hear again from our guest speakers. So I'm really pleased to throw now to Zia Sands, an animation and yoga goddess with a sharp eye for a deal. How's that for a sell?
Oh, wow. I didn't write that, I promise. Hi, everyone. Lovely to meet you all and really excited to dive into today's session. I'm Zia. I am based in London. I work for Warner Brothers Discovery. We operate across EMEA, globally, of course, but I look after EMEA. And I am a commissioner. So I look at projects from creators, writers, producers at a very early stage, sometimes produced as well, and basically follow that project from the nugget of an idea that it starts off as, feeding into development, across production, animation, the very long cycle that some of the team have already spoken about, and then delivery and onto our services, our channels. So I work across Cartoonito, Cartoon Network, and HBO Max. And we broadcast in 220 million households across EMEA in currently 19 different languages. And my top tips for you guys are very generic, I have to say, and quite simple, but I hope that they spark some kind of helpful idea for you guys. So the first one is, don't be afraid to ask questions. Ask the right questions though. So this point involves active listening. You don't always have to contribute to something if you don't have something useful to say, but do not be afraid to ask questions, especially at this point where you're maybe changing careers or coming in fresh and new to the industry. As many of the other experts have already said, we're a really friendly bunch for the most part, and we do like to help each other. And I think once people get into the kids industry, they tend to stay, and I think there's a reason for that. And so I just think that it's really useful to, keep an eye on, as people have said, insights, data, research, what's happening. It does evolve quite quickly, and so you need to be kind of on the pulse of it all. My second top tip is be patient. Good things take time. We all know that, especially if you're in animation. And I think it's really important that both from a career, personal perspective, that you stay in a role long enough to really give it a chance to see what it could be and how it could evolve. Networking whilst you're in it. Don't necessarily stay just within your team. Like, be curious, ask questions to other departments, to people who have jobs you don't quite know what they do, find out. As well as in terms of a project that you're working on, be patient. So as people have said, these things take time. You need to find the right talent, find the right people to work with, to encourage that strong collaboration. And I'll be really quick, but lastly, the third top tip is be authentic. Yes, I am a yoga teacher on the side as well. And I think that it's really important to bring your whole self, whatever that is, to your day job. If you do something that you love and you're able to bring your whole self, you're most likely going to want to work harder, be motivated, be able to inspire, be able to bring that light to the people you work with. And if you're that person and you're surrounded by other people who are like that, you're only going to be able to produce wonderful things. So be authentic and enjoy it, have fun. That's what we're all here for. Thank you.
Fabulous here. In an industry full of acronyms, EMEA.
Europe, Middle East and Africa.
Thank you very much. There'll be some people that wouldn't necessarily have known what the MEA was. So straight to Jamie Badminton, who I hear is the greatest singer I've never heard of and an animation wizard.
Just enjoy a bit of karaoke sometimes at CMC especially. But yeah, no.
It's got out. There's loose lips out there, Jamie.
I know, no, never mind. I'm Jamie. I am a creative director and producer at Carrot. We're celebrating our 15th birthday this year. We're best known for the show Sarah and Duck that we pitched and created in-house here at Carrot and developed. We also now are the producer and the studio making Peppa Pig. So we took that over 2 years ago, making the new episodes for the next 104 of those. So we've had a sort of experience developing our own IP and experience working with other people's. So I hope I can share a few top tips. The first one sort of bounces a little bit off what Zia was talking about there. When you're pitching shows and developing a show, making content that you enjoy yourself is the most important element. I think nothing comes across better in a pitch than if you're describing a show that you'd also want to watch yourself. Let that passion be part of the charm for the project, for the broadcaster or those people considering it. It can be a major part of the reason that they pick it up. Commerciality in a show is essential, but if it has been cynically constructed, it's surprising how easy it is to tell that. So loving your characters is a real sort of prerequisite. So the more layered, nuanced and real they sound when you're talking about them, the more I feel commissioners should want to spend time getting to know them and wanting to commission the show, hopefully, eventually. I also want to talk about voice acting. It's if you are making a teaser or a trailer for something, I voice directed a lot of the shows here at Carrot, and I feel it's definitely one of the most crucial ingredients to the final work being sort of really outstanding and cutting through. We've made animation tests before where we haven't put enough voice work in there, and then it doesn't give you a flavour of what the final work will be like. And it's similarly like if you've made student films and stuff, it's amazing how you can tell when an actor isn't bringing their sort of whole self to that role or is feeling a bit embarrassed about the audio they're giving up. If you can find someone that's absolutely unabashed with their voice and gives you some real character spark, it really is one of those elements that helps elevate the work you present. Finally, I just wanted to talk about being really open to feedback and being prepared to adjust your show alongside preserving the spirit of it. Hang on to that one thing that is the reason for making the show, but listen to the advice you get. I think it's surprising how much an idea can change and get better from listening to people while still retaining the reason it should exist. So don't be too precious when you hear the notes, but hang on to the reason that show should exist when you're developing it. And I think that'll give you best success in the marketplace.
Thank you very much, Jamie. Straight to Andy Monday Castle. Andy's passionate in telling amazing, authentic stories and representing real life. Andy.
Super. Thank you very much. Can you hear me? One thumb up. There
very
we go.
Well. Lovely.
Super. My name is Andy Monday Castle. I run Doc Hearts. We turned 7 on the 7th of March this year. We pivoted into children's content about 4 years ago and landed with the show Go Green with the Grimwades. We've since gone on to produce Root and Harper's Wonderworld. We like to put a documentary at the heart of everything that we do. So that's the USP of the company, really. Everything we try and make starts with a real story, and that really inspires us, and it gets me up every morning, and it gets me telling the stories that I really, really want to tell, and help reframing communities that might be overlooked in a certain way or marginalized, and framing them in a very new light. So that's the raison d'etre for Doc Hearts. My 3 top tips. I think this one has been said quite a bit, so I'm going to try my best to give it my own unique spin. Do your research. And I think, it's really about I think for me, I'm very laser focused on the kind of research I do about people, about ideas, about trends, about storytelling. So really sort of go into things. If you know what part of the industry you want to be in and you want to work in, really, really hone in on those that are doing it and doing it well. And that's right down to if it's an editor on a program that you've watched, speak to them, write to them, find their email. It's really easy to find people's contact details these days, and get in touch with them and make sure you kind of get that bit of airtime. And that's how far you should go with your research, really. So that I suppose has been quite a trend in this in this group here. People sort of telling you to do the research. Rejection, again, something else that has been shared, but I'll add again another unique spin on that. I think that find your own sort of coping mechanism and support system. Rejection shouldn't be taken emotionally in this business. It's part of the business. And again, that doesn't mean that the idea is wrong or it's bad, or it just, sometimes it does, but more often than not, it just means the time might not be right, or it's not quite there yet for the idea. Ironically, I was talking about early iterations of a show that we've just had commissioned, Rue and Harper's Wonderworld. I was talking about early iterations of that and how it took us many different cycles to get to that point. And I think rejection is all about, kind of dealing with something in your own creative way. But yes, not everybody will resonate with your vision. So it's a case of timing and finding your ways of dealing with that. Finally, be bold, be courageous, tell the story, really, really sort of focus in on your reason for getting up. I think we just had a lovely chat in the breakout room, and one of the things that I shared was that, you really got to, imposter syndrome is a really big thing in the media industry, right across the board. And I think that you've got to really hone in on why you want to be here, why you are going to offer something different. And because you're just starting out doesn't mean that you are any less important. You may be, closer to the audience or closer to the mediums in which they consume. And that gives you a real unique point of difference. And you have to hone in on that. And so back to that point, it's about being bold, being courageous, and be willing to get things wrong, fail first. And when you win, the win will come greater and much more sweeter. So have a fantastic rest of your afternoon. I hope that was useful.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. Thank you, Andy. Great advice there. I think now let's hear from a writer. Miranda Larson is an accomplished writer of literally everything, animation and live shows, and also directs. Miranda.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me. Predominantly in preschool, but I've done. Can you hear me? Okay.
There was a mild technical glitch,
Okay?
but I think it went. It kind of came as you said hello. And,
it went.
Oh no, and now it's back again. But
always the way, trying to stop me.
Yeah, no, let's have a go again. Let's go
try.
Again from the top.
Okay, I'll move on. Hello. Hello, I'm Miranda, and as Sid said, I'm a writer predominantly in preschool recently. I've worked across series such as Paper City. I just finished head writing 52 episodes for her and Milkshake. Quite a task, but amazing fun. My top tips are, I wanted to sort of hone in on sort of writing skills and what I found really useful when sort of honing my skills a little bit more. And the first thing for me is really understanding characters and character traits, particularly for children. Strong characters really resonate with our audience, and to really make them really make sure that they're really individual and unique, and so our young audiences really understand them. Oddly, my Bible for character development is the 8 Characters of Comedy, which is all about American sitcom characters. But it's a really good book to kind of teach you in terms of different types of character types that then you can turn into sort of more child friendly and child appropriate. And yeah, characters in children's television is a really good thing. And if you're like me, I'm a waffler and I can chat for ages. So pitching is a really hard thing for me to do and summarize an idea in a really short space of time. So I use a tool called Starting Lineups, which is just 5 basic questions. Who is the story about? Where are they at the start of the story? What do they want to achieve? What are they up against? And what's the worst that can happen? If you answer these 5 questions, just 5 simple words or a couple of words for each, that will give you the basis for a pitch, and you could probably summarize it in about 40 word pitch then, and you can really summarize it. And you can do that for episode pitches, series pitches, film pitches, whatever it is. That's a really good starting way to sort of make your idea succinct. And as a lot of people have said, it's about never stop learning, never think you know it all. I learn on every new series that I work on something different, whether it's something technical, whether it's something, another writing skill, whether it's another acting skill to work with. There's loads of great books out there. And now with all the streaming services, there's loads of documentaries on writing and creating. But one of the things I found really useful starting out is there's lots of writing communities, either online or actually in person, where you can share your work and you can get immediate feedback and you're all in it together. And again, it's about asking writers, whether it's an experienced writer or a new writer. Writers are very supportive of each other, and we're very much a team when we come together in a series. And that's my top tips. And I hope my connection was okay. Sorry.
Miranda, it was what we heard was excellent, and thank you for your contribution. It was great to hear all of those things. Over straight now to Will Spear. Now, Will excels at brand building and brightening up kids' lives with entertainments. Is this true? Will? Not today, he's not. Where's Will?
He's here. Absolutely true.
There he is. Well, all yours.
Thank you. So, yes, so my name is Will Spear. I'm the managing director for Magic Star, which is the kids and family music label at Sony Music. I founded it 4 years ago. And yeah, so we distribute, make and market music for kids and family across the world. So stuff you'd have heard of, such as like Bluey, My Little Pony, Pepper, Baby Shark, The Wiggles, lots and lots of stuff. So there's a big, unique streaming market for kids and families out there. My previous experience, I've been in the kids industry for about 20 years, just shy of. Worked at Disney for 8 years, worked at Mattel for 5 years, DreamWorks and NBC Universal. So worked on lots of amazing brands and been really lucky to have some great experience across lots of different companies. So I'll go straight into the top tips that I've got for you. So the first one is, and again, some of us are repeating each other, but build and sustain relationships. The kids media industry is like a merry-go-round. Lots of the experts on this call will have previously worked with each other in different roles or know each other from other different jobs, etc. So strong relationships built over time are really invaluable. And even when you leave those companies, maintain those relationships, because you never know who you're going to be working for next. And I would really encourage that. I think the second one would be, for me, is to consume content. Whether you're watching the shows, you're listening to the music, you're playing the games, everything you do will give you a view, will give you a more rounded view, and kind of give you experience in terms of what's working, what isn't, etc., etc. And then finally, I don't think, we're all in the music industry. Everyone's there are lots and lots of lovely people in the kids and family, children's media industry. There are lots of lovely people, but also I think people just like to have fun. So don't take yourself too seriously. We're not making vaccines. We're not solving knife crime in London. We're not trying to put people on the moon. We're entertaining kids and families. And I think if you can keep that sense of humor and not take yourself too seriously, that's really, really invaluable to a successful career. So I hope those 3 tips helped.
Thank you, Will. To G-Day to tell us about animation. G-Day Johnson is next.
Hey guys, how's it going? My name's G-Day. I'm the head animation producer and founder of AniBox Studios. Initially, AniBox were focused on short animated adverts for corporates and big brands. So some of our most notable works would be The Quest for Queen Plates that we made with Birdseye, that was voiced by Roger McGowan. And a few years ago, we were commissioned to create the first Little Miss Hug animation, and I wrote, produced, and directed an animated short called it's not Little Miss Hug Save the World, but it's Everyone Needs a Hug, basically. Someone was asking for hugs in the breakout room, so I was like, oh yeah, we know about hugs. So following that, we worked a lot with the guys at Cartoon Network. I worked very closely with Mark Tainton, the head of Adult Swim at EMEA. And there, I guess we got a real sense of what it's like to get into the IP game and start developing our own IP. So not long after that, we worked with the guys at Milkshake to create a short documentary for the CMC last year. I also produced I helped produce a documentary called Spending Black that went on BBC iPlayer the year before last, and that was all about the power of spending money in underrepresented communities. This year, I've been selected to be on this year's cohort of the Sheffield DocFest Future Producer School. So I'll be down at the Sheffield DocFest next week. So if anyone's going to be there, please, let's connect. And I'm currently working with the Big Nasty company and their managers to launch basically a cartoon for the Big Nasty guys. So yeah, exciting year ahead for all of us. And my 3 top tips, I decided since a lot of the people here are a bit more experienced at actually having their own content that's actually been commissioned yet, which we are yet to do. I thought I'd give some top tips on basically like how to actually get into an animation career. So I don't know how many people here are trying to get into animation, but my career started out following my 3D animation degree. I started out working at the Mill as a junior 3D animator. So my top tip number 1 is know the principles of animation, right? And get to understand the basic principles of animation. So no matter how much technological advancements that are made like in the art form, understanding the basic principles of animation has always been key. Demonstrating an understanding of these principles are always going to open doors when speaking to employers. Understanding things like timing, weighting, and how the laws of physics are actually relevant to motion in animation. Watch lots of animation and observe how the transfer of emotion is achieved. Pick up books. I saw someone was promoting books earlier. I think it was Georgina. If I had my books here, I'd bring out Richard Williams' Animation Survival Kit and Disney's The Illusion of Life books. Listen to podcasts, do some online courses, speak to professional animators who are working on the types of content that you'd like to get into, and get a mentor if you practice. Tip number 2, become familiar with existing and emerging technologies. So, understand the basics: Photoshop, Adobe Animate, After Effects, Cell Action, and Toon Boom. Though that's always going to be super helpful if you're trying to find a job in the industry and actually get into the art form. And then besides that, also get into and understand there's a number of emerging technologies and technological breakthroughs that have come through in the form of software like Unreal Engine and various AI tools. And then lastly, what I'd say is underrepresented stories in animation are now super on trend. So, underrepresented groups of all kinds are now beginning to tell really exciting stories that we've never seen animated before. And if you've worked on such a project before, or if you're interested in doing so, then becoming really good at articulating this is a great way to at least strike conversations with a producer, with an employer, or with talent you'd like to collaborate, because the industry is currently investing in this. And yeah, those are my top tips.
Guido, thank you very much. Can we just be careful that we haven't got any mics open? I think there's a bit of open mic leakage there from someone while Guido was talking. A reminder as well that all of these top tips will be collated and sent to you after this session is finished, so you don't need to hurriedly scribble. I know we're going at pace. We're going at pace because we've got some fabulous people to squeeze in. So I'll move straight on to Tim Bain, who is the next contributor. Tim, thanks for joining us. Tim's a creator and a writer extraordinaire. All yours, Tim.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Great to be here. I've been a freelance kids TV writer over the last 12 years or so. I've written for shows like PJ Masks, Fireman Sam, Bluey, and over the last few years, I've started creating my own shows and co-producing those and show running them. My first show's Kangaroo Beach, which is here on Milkshake, and Nick Jr., which is basically Baywatch for kids. That's in its second series now. And I'm currently in production on a show that I actually pitched one of the executives on this call at the moment. I pitched to them at the CMC International Exchange 4 years ago, and it's now in production, 52 episodes, called Let's Go Bananas, which is based on my own life as a gay dad of 3 kids. Jade was just talking about underrepresented people on screen, and I thought that might be a great thing to draw on, being a gay dad. And there's just all these new stories that have come out of that process, like the fact that neither my husband or I know how to do our daughter's hair in the morning before school. So it helps to generate these original storylines that haven't been told on TV before. So my tips are, number one, what I would have told myself as a young filmmaking student is to gain experience on other shows. I know a lot of people have got these brilliant ideas for TV series that they've been developing, and I certainly had when I was younger. I think it's very, very beneficial if you can get an opportunity, if writing is what you really want to do, as well as creating your own shows, to freelance on other shows that are out there. So to do that, you need to obviously get under the nose of the producers and script editors making those shows, and that will need my number 2 tip, a great sample script, which I'm sure a lot of people have got, preferably your own material. Some people write samples based on shows that are out there, which might be, a bit easier. I think the best way to show your voice and your sense of comedy potentially as well is with your own sample. And to get that great sample, hire a script editor. It is an expense. It is a bit of cost. You're not going to pay yourself, obviously, but it is very, very valuable to have an experienced script editor guiding you through the process from draft to draft. And I do that. I still do that on shows that I'm creating. I hire a script editor. Definitely recommend it. It's like film school, like the personalized film school. Some of the stuff that I was taught by my script editors back in the day still resonate with me today. And lastly is just hopefully those shows that you've got that you want to bring out into the world can be as unique as possible and just feel like they stand out from the pack, that they're telling a different story, or if they've got a different point of view or based in a different world from the shows that are already up on screen right now. Broadcasters definitely want to see those really interesting, different shows that haven't been told, and hopefully you're bursting to tell those stories. Those are the tips from me.
Brilliant, Tim. Thank you very much. Just 2 more guest speakers to hear from. We'll go straight to Flo, who her good friends call her. Flo, are you there?
I am here. Hi, everyone. I'll try and keep this as quick as possible. The advantage of being second to last is that many of my tips have been spoken about already. One of them was about getting a mentor. It's always great to have that person that you can bounce ideas off and ask questions of that you might feel a bit apprehensive to ask in the kind of work environment that you're in. So definitely get a mentor. And the other thing that's been talked about at length is about just gathering knowledge. Be fearless when gathering knowledge. And I say that because I know people, myself included, can be apprehensive about asking those questions. Don't worry, because all it will do is will show people how passionate you are about the area that you're in and how keen you are to learn. So it's a good thing. So ask as many questions as you possibly can. And then the only other thing I was going to say, my third tip rather, is just about tools. I work in digital, and so I think John mentioned that it's the pace has never changed. It goes at breakneck pace. And with that, it means that there's so much stuff to learn about, read about everything, try and get some practice on the stuff that's used in the industry. There are plenty of courses out there. There are what I call the school of YouTube, go on there to learn about things. You can get free or light versions of things like Photoshop and that kind of thing. So don't worry and try not to be overwhelmed by digital because it moves so quickly. It's easy to think that you might not be able to keep up or that you might feel a bit past it, frankly, and that's not true at all. I didn't move into digital until I was in my late 30s, basically, and I'm still here. So don't let it scare you. Just go for it. Definitely, you've got a lot to bring. And then in terms of my background, I realise I haven't said that. I started life at the Beeb, and worked with a variety of wonderful people, including Sid Cole. And I started off as a secretary. Wasn't sure what I wanted to do. The other thing is, it's great going to uni and getting a degree and all the rest of it, but I didn't. And that didn't stop me. So I just worked my way up, basically. And by the time I left the BBC, I had worked in a huge variety of areas, children's being my favourite. And then I came across to this company and worked across Nickelodeon, which was great again, got fully involved with SpongeBob. And now I work across Paramount and streaming is a whole new world again for me to learn. So there's always something to learn, basically. And that's me.
Hello, I still adore you. I don't mind it being on record. Jackie Edwards is our last and final speaker, and we are going to run over slightly, folks, so I appreciate we have still got a breakout room, but let's hear from Jackie and then we'll work out where we're at after Jackie held the floor. Jackie, all yours.
Very quick, Sid. Hello everyone, I'm Jackie Edwards and I have had all of the best jobs in children's television. Thank you. Most recently I was head of the BFI Young Audiences Content Fund, which was an amazing experience. Before that I did 10 years at the BBC as a buyer. And before that, I worked in the independent sector for nearly 15 years, running a small production company and then freelancing an array of fantastic companies. I've done everything from developing new projects, both original ideas and adaptations, exec producing award-winning specials and series. I was a television buyer, as I said, and getting shows funded and into production has been a big part of my life as well. So literally, I've been a Jackie of all trades through my career. But prior to that, I was trained as a scientist. So that fun fact will lead me to my top tips. The first one is a terrible cliche, but it's true. Do what you love. And if you can't immediately do the thing you love, or you don't know what it is that you love, or if the thing that you might love hasn't found you yet, be flexible. Be open to change, open to different and unexpected opportunities that come your way. Sometimes you have to go sideways or backwards to go forwards. Tip 2, be interested. Ask questions, learn as much as you can about the sector you're working in, understand the context of your own role to the company you're in and the wider industry. This knowledge will motivate you and give you ideas about career progression and how to answer that question, where do you want to be in 5 years, that they ask in interviews. My final tip, be yourself. Be nice, be kind, make friends. Not only does it make for a more pleasant working day to be with people you get along with, but you never know where and when you might meet again. Better to be remembered for all the right reasons. Good luck in your careers. I hope you find the thing you love. Thanks.
Jackie, I've reconnected with the thing that I love by seeing you again today. Thank you very much for your top tips. And while we break out into our breakout rooms, we are going to overrun folks by about 10 minutes. I will just now read some more parish notes about things that will be useful while the wizardry is done to put us into those rooms again. This is related again to obviously the CMC conference in July. So you can find out all about business intel and policies which will affect our lives in live session question time. That's one of the sessions that's running there. New ways of getting funding together in new business strategies and how revenue is made on fast channels. Sessions on thinking about audience and content, Superfans UGC, audio production, brand building and how to handle difficult topics. That's also covered. There's also a session on getting a writing mentor. Lots of brilliant writers have contributed today, so that's something that I would encourage, and tons of research sessions to understand the audience better, because how can you hit the audience in the sweet spot when you don't know who they are, where they are? There is a creative masterclass with Aardman's creative director, Sarah Cox, and the keynote with successful young adult author, Shana Jackson. Animation Assemble, a session all about animation and networking get together from Festivus. Learn the art of pitching in a session designed to give you the lowdown on what works. And for writers and aspiring producers, there's a session on authentic representation, reaching difficult audiences, writing comedy, and how AI is impacting our work, which is a huge debate in the industry at the moment. And if that isn't enough, you can round off with a yoga lesson. That's what's written here. In the last word with YouTube star Jamie Amore of Cosmic Kids. And if you can't attend in person, don't forget you can join online. Many of the sessions will be live streamed and available to watch after the conference across the summer. So now you're about to be pulled into breakout rooms. I'll see you on the other side. Best of luck. He says freezing. Maybe I went too quickly on that.
Sid, I was going to ask you a question.
Yes, go on.
How did you get into the industry?
Oh, that's a nice little stitch up to a bit of a filler. So I started in local radio. That was my route, and I know it was yours too. So for me, I thought I don't know anything about TV, and I'm going to go to BBC Radio Stoke. So I'm a Midlander. I went to BBC Radio Stoke, and from there I learned lots of things from people in audio and radio. Because if you can crack audio, you can take those lessons into TV. Then I went to Pebble Mill, and then I came down to Television Centre. So I was a decade at Television Centre. Came down, what was it, tail end of Live and Kicking, I think it was when I moved down. And then obviously we had our foray at CITV together. But I think my top tips, and you're not particularly asking for them, but here it comes anyway, is to listen around, to talk to people, to be really sociable, and just make sure that you are cherry picking everybody's best advice and finding your own path. I think that absolutely for me is what is the best way forward. That you can't replicate someone else's path, because the way that I did it isn't available now, but you will find your own way, and that I think is what's been so great. I mean, even after 25 years listening in today, everybody's saying things that resonate, and I'm reflecting on when I started out. So I think thank you, Ian. Thank you for helping me Phil.
No worries.
Now I'm hoping
to expect the unexpected. That's what I think.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yep.
But I think what does come over is how and it's been talked about, we all keep up with each other. We're all in different parts of the business. You'll see different straps and different companies and different names after all of our titles today, but we are all very much related. We are all in the same game, and that's actually very unique, and that is the spirit of CMC. So I think that's very, very true, and has come over from everybody that's spoken today. And I hope in the breakout rooms that folks have felt that too. And in a second, I'm hoping that we're about to step into the breakout rooms so we can have one last throw of the dice. We're almost at the end of this session now. And I just wanted to sort of wrap up by saying that you may be able to meet some of the people that you've seen on this call today. If you're attending CMC in July, it's jam-packed with amazing sessions, as I've mentioned on a number of occasions, all of which will be shared with you. So please do have a read of that. The link is in the chat again to register for the Sheffield version or the online version, the in-person or online version. And I know some of you have already have the link and have seen it in advance. So do use that. We're also sending you the fact sheet like we promised across the afternoon with the notes and the key questions that have been asked in chat that Lee Bucknell's made note of. All the top tips and links to industry websites for more information on entry schemes, as I mentioned earlier, training and bursaries, and details of the must-see CMC events. So we will send that on in due course. I just want to thank all of the experts for their time. I think it's been absolutely brilliant this afternoon to hear such a broad range from so many parts of the industry. Absolutely fantastic. Thank you to for their time and their honest advice. They've all been amazing. I hope you agree. Thanks to Darren on the technical side and for all the production team from Milkshake and Paramount for putting this together and for humouring me to hopefully present it in good order. Thanks to CMC and Screen Skills for putting this session on. And thanks to you, because we wish you every success in the industry. And more than likely, we will see some of you in person very, very soon. And it's always fantastic when someone taps you on the shoulder and says, "Oh, I saw you doing such and such." And we need great people, and we wish you well on your journey. So now it's time to get out and get off. I've been Sid Cole. Thank you very much for joining the session this afternoon. And until we meet again, goodbye.